Gamers of Reddit, what gaming experience will you never forget and why? When I grew up we always had that sort of computer which wasn't all bad, but installing a game was always kind of a jeopardy. It just might not work. So back in 2005, World of Warcraft had finally gotten traction and the news had begun reporting about the online sensation. People were discussing how big it actually were and the possibilities it offered. So at Christmas, I finally got it. I was overjoyed and couldn't wait to get home and plug it in. For those who doesn't remember, it had 5 or 6 discs, which meant 5 or 6 chances of something. For my PC, as far as I remember, it took about 8 hours to install with me constantly leaping in the check on it and change CDs. But then, just around dinner time, it finally finished and the old screen of the giant portal appeared. The next year also would be completely dedicated to that game. But I'll never forget that certain kind of curiosity and wonder that WoW brought me on that first encounter. Mine will always be when Rock Band Guitar Hero were all the rage. Those games are by far my favorite gaming memories. All of my friends huddled around a TV in the basement with our plastic instruments rocking out and having a good time. There hasn't been a co-op experience like them since and probably never will be again. I miss those games so much. The Mantis fight of Metal Gear Solid. Snake, plug your controller into the second controller port. Nowadays, such a thing would be considered trite or a cute gimmick at best, but for the time period when it came out, 1998, and the first time I played it, I was probably about 10 or 12 at the time. It was mind-blowing. For people who don't know what I'm talking about, in the first Metal Gear Solid on PlayStation, and later ported to GameCube, there's a boss you end up fighting called Mantis. He claims to be a true and proves it to you by saying things like "I'll make your controller move through sheer force of will" and then causing it to vibrate. He comments on other games you've played, reading your memory card, makes you think he's turned off the game by doing the default input screen, and even avoids all of your attacks until an ally calls and tells you to plug your controller into the second controller port. It was amazing. The end of Portal 2. In particular the final portal you shoot. I'd waited until I finished my exams to play it, then basically stayed up all night to finish it. What an ending that was. Sadly of course it turned out to be the ending of the whole Half-Life Portal universe. I used to play Shadow of the Colossus with my little brother watching and commenting besides me, and this is such a nice memory for me, especially now that we've grown apart and we don't see each other that much anymore. Learning the big secret of Star Wars, Knights of the Old Republic about your main character for the first time. I didn't complete the game until way after it was released. I was really young when it came out and didn't even know what Star Wars was, but I never saw anything about it since it seemed like a forgotten game. I have to say, when the big reveal happened, I was shocked and excited. Beating co-op Portal 2 with 2 of my best friends. We spent forever laughing, messing with each other, trying to figure out puzzles that made us feel stupid for how long it took. Finishing it felt like a chapter in our lives came to a close. Never going to forget those moments. When I was around 4, I was playing Mario Kart on the SNES with my older brother who was around 7 years old. I was falling behind and he refused to wait for me to catch up. I got angry and bit him. I know it's weird, but it's just stuck in my memory. That was the first and last time I bit someone and it was over a video game. I married a man in Star Wars Galaxies and my town threw a huge wedding celebration for us. After the gifts and speeches we went back to his place and I stole everything he owned. In actuality I was a 13-year-old boy posing as a lady and my buddy was the wedding planner and convinced the town to make sure to bring gifts. He even got paid by the town. The entire thing was premeditated and we laughed for days and days non-stop. Last mission of Halo 3. Where the floor is collapsing and you're on the Warthog. I'll remember the feeling I had playing it for the first time with my friend in like 3rd grade forever. Such a epic mission. Beating Halo 3 on Legendary with my brother split screen on a small TV in our room. It took us weeks to get to the last level and then it took us hours to get past the part where you drive the Warthog to the ship where the ground keeps falling down. It was one of the best moments I've felt after beating a game. riding into Mexico in Red Dead Redemption. The music comes in at its absolutely perfect. Dead Space. I don't know why I love it so much, but I don't think that there will be another game that I love more. Installing this thing called Steam so that I could play Half-Life 2 when it released at midnight. Played through the whole thing in a single 6-8 hour sitting. Loved every bit of the experience. Modern Warfare 2 was my introduction into online games. I had to beg my grandparents to get Wi-Fi for the house so I could play with my friends. One school night it's like 3 in the morning and I'm playing Search and Destroy with my friends. We get put into a lobby with a whole clan and they start talking ungodly amounts of. Here I am in my undies, middle of the night, and yelling all kinds of back at them. I just remember us winning and us rubbing it in the noses while we watch as they all leave the lobby one by one. The Lich King for the first time in World of Warcraft. It was super intense and took so much planning and so many attempts. I'll never forget how we all screamed when we did it. Final Fantasy VII blew my mind as a kid. The story is still my favorite of any game. And the soundtrack is just epic. Was completely immersed in it. Played it through in its entirety 3 times. Also, gaming with my brother in college where we lived together for 4 years. We had so many late nights playing on our PS2. Games like Dynasty Warriors 3, Guitar Hero, 007, Twisted Metal Black and Gauntlet. Good times. Gaming has never been the same since we've gotten older. Surprised no one has said this, but Batman Arkham Asylum, when the game seemingly starts over for no reason and you realize it's just a scarecrow vision. I was so confused then completely blown away.